These are really supposed to be a layering piece with our new collection. Maybe we'll add a little something, a little ARC logo over the top. What we're really trying to do between Wisconsin and Iowa is make, instead of Wisconsin collections, Midwest collections, so that we can market it to both end consumers. For me personally, like, I think this would sell anywhere, but I know it would sell well in both Wisconsin and Iowa, just because both of them are deer hunters, that type of vibe. But people like out here will buy it just because they think it's cool, you know. So
crazy in Ohio.
It really works for all demographics. Yes, that looks nice. Also, we got a sweatpant that'll release with these too. So it's kind of like a outdoor collection of sorts. So these we made ourselves. So I mean, this with this, it's very Midwest, but it's also one of those things that, you know, really anyone could wear. I mean, that's a healthy combo.
That's gas.
That's a healthy combo right there. So yeah, hand drawn. These are PP's blank. Got the pink string.
Oh, actually, the pink string is tough.
I think the blank space is really what I want to start building into more and more, because it's fun. I mean, to have a distressed hoodie made and not have to do that yourself is so great. And I mean, just internalizing that entire supply chain internally is something that feels really good to do too, because I know we're using organic Jersey cotton, and I know that the space that we're getting it manufactured at is FLA, Fair Labor Association certified, because that's what they have to be a licensed distributor. So it feels good to cross both those boxes, you know, feel the fabric, and hopefully soon start making the trips overseas to Portugal, to China, to Italy, to wherever it may be, and really be more involved in that process.
All right, so what we're doing here is we are applying a patch onto the work shirts. So it's essentially a two-step process. You hoop the shirt, as you have here. So you use a piece of backing. You mark on the shirt where you want it to be centered, like we have here. Looks good. Use a piece of backing, and now what this does is it stabilizes the fabric so that the thread can go in it essentially straight, and it doesn't start to, you know, like fray or like go all over the place. So after you hoop it, there's two steps. So we'll run essentially a stitch that shows us where the patch is going to go. So as you can see, it does a nice outline like that. We'll take the patch that we're doing. In this case, it's this patch right here, the Miller. You hit it with some spray adhesive just to hold it in place. Put it back on where that border tells us it's gonna go. Secure it, and then you do the second step, which will stitch around it and lock it right in place. If it's a custom made pen, that kind of depends. I would say at least like 50 to 100 is ideal. Just because we don't make patches in-house, so it has to come from a different location. But as you can see, it puts down a nice stitch around it, holds it in place. That way it isn't going anywhere. A day in the life of how things kind of operate here. I usually get here around 7:30, 8:30, depending on what we've got going on in the morning. Go home for dinner around 5, and then usually come back in for a night shift. With the holidays, Black Friday and Christmas, it's definitely our busier season. So definitely some longer hours, but we're getting through it.
Every Tuesday, Thursday, Briar, Josh, and myself meet for at least 30 minutes, just so we're on the same page. It started as just a design meeting, and now it's like a just general checkup, just because we're halfway across the country. So I mean, we had to stay on the same page at least twice a week. And then every Friday, we have a full team meeting. And so we really started to implement that right away, but this year especially, started implementing something called the Entrepreneurial Operating System, EOS. And that's really just been guiding us in keeping traction, setting some quarterly goals, and making sure we maintain them. Primarily sales goals with the retail location, all our KPIs. So we've hit all those this quarter ever since we started tracking that stuff. So it's been super exciting, and that's the main thing that enables the functionality to be smooth, because Briar and I especially would lose touch with what's going on at the store. And so we're texting Josh all the time, all day, every day, pretty much. So funny. Yeah, we've been going hard today. Started a fire this morning. So yeah, we started developing our own blanks a few months ago, probably in the summer. And so instead of going for like t-shirts and hoodies and stuff like that, we wanted to provide something a little different. So I mean, this is our distressed hoodie. We already did a little applique on it, but distressing all around the edges in here. And I mean, we're not doing huge quantity. We started out with 500. They're already gone. And so it's a learning process. It costs a lot of money to start your own blank company. I mean, to be taken seriously as a supplier, you probably had to have at least 200 of each size. And so you think about A, the space, B, the money that takes to start that. And so we're starting with 500 units at a time. This hoodie is definitely a hitter. We did some mesh t-shirts in the summer that were successful, but it's more so for ourselves right now and our own companies. But I see that as Playground Printing's footprint in New York. I think moving forward, we will probably relocate this production facility to Wisconsin because it makes most sense. All of our business is there. We can expand our retail footprint much easier with myself and Briar there to drive to the locations, oversee those operations, expand into Iowa, expand into Minnesota, and really build out from the center out. However, with that being said, we both love New York. We want to stay in New York, but it doesn't make sense to do all our production here, especially since we're either buying most of our blanks from LA or Mexico, shipping them here just to ship back to the Midwest. It makes most sense to have those shipped directly to the Midwest and made there. With that being said, there is a hole in the market for a blank store in New York that is carrying what the people want. Some of them are doing well. Superline New York does really well. A, marketing, and B, providing blanks that people want. But all the other ones are really out in New York, or out in LA, excuse me. And so I think if we can simultaneously build our own blank infrastructure, warehouse, and storefront, maybe in the fashion district, maybe in Williamsburg, somewhere that people will go to and get the clothes that they need to manufacture, I think that would be the way, or the arm of Playground Printing that remains in New York. And so that's probably more of a 2-year goal, again, because it requires so much capital.